Let me know when we are on air, and then we will be good. We're live. Hi, this is Ashley Bishop with Status Coup. John Farina and I are on the ground in Manhattan outside of a DSA watch party for the New York City mayor election tonight. I will just say, our night got off to a late start. We apologize to everyone. We had some issues with press credentials and going to a location where they did not let us film. So the DSA in Manhattan very nicely is letting us film outside. So that's where we are. We are outside of a DSA watch party in Manhattan to see what happens tonight. I see we were in the car while all this was going on when the polls closed. Looks like Zohran is up by quite a lot, so very exciting. And I am talking to Theo, who very nicely has stepped outside of the party to talk to us. So, Theo,
yes.
Why did you show up tonight for the watch party for Zohran? Why did you vote for him?
I was super excited to be around people that have the same values as me. Lots of DSA members in here. You know, we all stand for the same values. We want to make our cities more affordable for the working class, tax the rich because they can afford it, and we need to have them help pay for, food, pay for bus subsidies. The working class take the bus. They need to be able to get to work. Why do we have a regressive tax on them for charging them $2.90 each time they want to ride the bus? So I voted for Zohran. I ranked Zohran number one, of course, because, he's actually showing me that he's here for the people, and he's not here out of interest, for other countries. He doesn't have, he's not a lawyer for a war criminal. Like Cuomo.
So you didn't think his question, the question that he got during the debate about whether or not he would go to Israel if he was elected mayor of New York City was a good question to be asking, again, a candidate for the mayor of New York City?
No, I'm glad they asked that question because it showed exactly what all the other candidates were about. And it just right on the face, they showed played their cards. And, Zohran came out. He's the only one that said, I'm here for the New York City people. I'm here for the boroughs of New York, because that's the position that he's running for. He's not running for the mayor of Tel Aviv. He's running for the mayor of New York City.
Absolutely. And so you would say it's more his economic policy and, a platform that is trying to center affordability of the city, not his memes and his charisma that has gotten him as far in the campaign as he's gone.
Honestly, I haven't even seen that many memes or, it's all about policy. It's about economic policy. He put down a plan that will show exactly how he's planning to pay for the things that he is promising to do. And I didn't see anything from any other candidate that had any plan that meaningfully would help New York City residents.
For sure. And I guess, to me, this is kind of like a referendum on the Democrats' policy up until this point where, they're so concerned about messaging and all of this stuff. And instead of, giving people a policy of things that would affect their material lives, again, they're focused on messaging. I would say that if he wins tonight, and even if he doesn't win tonight, it kind of says no. That's not what people want. We're not looking for messaging. We're looking for actual policies that will alleviate the burdens of the working class.
Yeah, if we haven't learned anything from the last election, virtue signaling isn't going to get us anywhere. Meaningless, messaging from establishment Democrats is not going to get us anywhere. We need actual policies that are going to help actual people, working people who actually vote, and people who would be drawn to a candidate, not a party, and not an establishment party that, relies on the name of their party. They need policy. They need plans. That's what they need to get things done and to get people to vote for them.
I guess I would ask, before I let you go back into the party, because I hear cheering, I don't want to take you away from this, potentially really big moment for us New Yorkers. But I would ask, as a New Yorker, is there a personal reason why you were drawn to Zohran? Why does his policy of, the affordability policy resonate with you so much? Is that something that you can speak to a little bit?
At the end of the day, he's giving us, policies that actually helps working New Yorkers, actually helps people. Grocery prices are sky high. He suggests, opening city-run grocery stores that have been proven to work in other states. Massive successes. Why, if it can work in Columbus, Ohio, it can work in New York City, and we can make it, 10 times bigger because we're an amazing city with tons of people that need the same things as everyone else, and we struggle here too. Everyone needs to get their bills paid, and all I can say is that I didn't see anyone else that had the dedication to and the commitment to New York City people, the actual people who he will be the mayor of, than Zohran.
Yeah, and I will share, I live in Manhattan. I live here, and for me, the city has become unaffordable.
Yeah.
So, it's expensive. Groceries are expensive. My rent just got raised by $300 last month. It's insane, and I don't know who can afford to actually live here. And like you said, groceries are sky high. Any basic need that you might have, it is too expensive for most working people in the city. Even just the subway costs are too much. If we had fast and free buses, that would help me a lot. We go to protests all the time. We are back and forth all over the city. It would be nice to have, something affordable to take us there to cover those things. So as a New Yorker, it certainly resonated with me. His policy slate has certainly resonated with me, and I have to imagine that everybody in there feels the same way. I just asked Theo, I'm going to let you get back to partying. Do you have anything else that you would want to add for viewers of Status Coup about tonight, about being a New Yorker, anything at all?
Well, I just hope Zohran wins tonight because we need him more than ever. We need someone who's willing to stand up to Trump. I don't trust Cuomo to do that at all. We need someone, who cares about the people that he's going to be governing, the actual constituents, and not big business, not, billion or $1 million donors who, will influence someone like Cuomo. I just really hope that, we do the right thing. We vote for Zohran. He gets in tonight. And, I think that he could be a catalyst for a larger movement. If we don't have this moment now, I'm really, going to be disheartened, but, we really need a strong leftist movement. We need someone who will, who is not beholden to donors. And I think that that's going to be important, for if we're going to build a stronger leftist movement in general.
I would say that I agree. I think Zohran is what we were sold that Obama was. But this guy is the real deal, I think. Would hate to be proven wrong, but I'm happy to have some kind of realistic optimism in this moment. I think New Yorkers deserve it. I think everybody else around the country who's watching also deserves to have this moment of possibility. So thank you so much, Theo. I'm going to let you get back to partying. It was a pleasure talking to you. Have a great rest of your night, and I hope we get the thing that we want.
Excellent.
Thank you so much. All right, guys. Again, we are outside in Manhattan at a DSA watch party, so the Democratic Socialists of America, DSA. We are scouting for more people to talk to inside, so hang tight for a second while we get more people out here. I'm going to look for some updates since I can't actually see what's going on in there. I'm just going to look for some updates. I heard some cheering, so we will see. All right. Okay, so I'm looking at a live blog from Spectrum News 1. Zohran is up by quite a bit. So far, he has 43.8% of the vote. Cuomo is just behind, not even just behind him. He's at 35.7% right now. Andrew Cuomo is at 35.7%, behind Zohran at 43.8%. Brad Lander is a distant third at 11.7%. I will say, as far as Brad Lander goes, I was very impressed with his willingness to kind of like set his own ego aside, which is extraordinarily rare when you're talking about politicians, and platform Zohran. I mean, they both said we're cross-endorsing. They had cross-endorsed each other, and they each said, rank me number one, rank the other one number two. But over the last week, I think it's become pretty clear that Brad knew that he probably wasn't going to win, and his, cross-endorsement really just meant promoting Zohran. I really appreciate that, and I think it shows what a good public servant he actually is. So again, good on Brad Lander for that. I think that could serve as a model for the Democratic Party moving forward. And we have some other people who want to talk to us. So we are going to bring in some people from the bar to talk to us about why they're here tonight. Hello. Hi. Hello. Okay. Thank you guys for coming outside to talk to us. I'm Ashley, and you are?
Sai.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Milo.
Milo, nice to meet you guys. Again, thank you so much for talking. So I guess I would just ask the basic question. Why did you guys show up tonight to support Zohran, and why did you vote for him?
I mean, his entire platform, if I'm being honest. A significant portion of his platform actually won't benefit me. I don't live in rent-stabilized housing, but I am for freezing the rent because New Yorkers deserve to be able to afford to live in New York. I do not have children, but New Yorkers deserve to have childcare for the children in their lives so that they're able to go out and, support those families. I know that supporting families without childcare is extremely difficult. I'm down for the city-run grocery stores, which so many people say is against capitalism, but he's not talking about getting rid of, privately owned grocery stores. He's just talking about supplementing it for people that can't afford those locations. He speaks to the people, and that's why I voted for him.
Excellent answer. What about you, Milo?
Yeah, so, I support all the same policies that Sky was talking about. For me personally, I first encountered Zohran when I was volunteering for another socialist candidate in 2022, actually right down here in the Lower East Side. And at that point, Zohran was a state assembly member. He really didn't have any other reason to be coming to that campaign other than that he is part of this movement. He's part of DSA, and he cares about these policies, and he cares about building a socialist bloc of power in the city. And so Zohran came to multiple canvases, spoke to us, got people fired up, got people excited about this very tiny little campaign in the Lower East Side. And so that just really inspired me. And from that time, just hearing him speak and seeing him interact with people, you could tell that he was going places, and he was an incredibly talented politician. And I'm just so excited to see how far he's come and see how close we are to actually winning this thing. It's amazing.
I would also like to add that one of the number one reasons that I voted for him is that I am over the old guard Democratic establishment who has been in control and had power for way too long. They won't even be alive to see the impacts of the policies they're enacting on all of us younger generations right now. And they need to cede their power and give those spaces to young people that actually know what's going on and will live to deal with the consequences of their actions.
I mean, I think that's a wonderful thing to kind of add. And you guys said so much, and I want to hit on as much of it as I can. I would address that first. I mean, we talk about that a lot at Status Coup, that, the Democrats have had their time to prove that they have policies and something to offer working people. I think the last election solidified for a lot of us that they don't have anything to offer, and they are just so resistant to, I think we kind of like to say ever learning anything, because they don't serve us, right? Like they betray every time that they lose an election who their real constituency is. It's not the working people of New York or any other city in the U.S. It is their donors. That's who they're serving. And I think that tonight really shows that if you have something to offer to working people, they will show up. They will show up. And like you said, he's been out here. He's become a fixture of New York. He has, he went on that long walk the other day with people just walking around New York. And he's here. He's doing the work. He has led all kinds of actions in the city, and Andrew Cuomo's not out here. He has no ground game.
I would love to see Andrew Cuomo try to walk from the top of Manhattan to the bottom. I would pay money to see that walk happen. He didn't even take public transit to go and vote today.
He drives his muscle car 2 blocks to his polling site. That tells you all you need to know.
Absolutely, and he had someone holding a parking space. I saw photos of like his press people or whoever, his helpers, standing in a parking spot just, waiting for him to arrive and pull in. That is crazy, and I don't think that Zohran was doing that. I don't know how he arrived. I'm going to assume it was not in quite that fashion.
No, definitely not. He, I can never pinpoint where he shows up. He shows up where the people are.
I love that. He shows up where the people are, and the people have shown up for him tonight and across the city. I think it's pretty clear. And again, like he is doing so much better than I will say, could have imagined. I remember when they were when he was considering a run for mayor, and DSA was talking about it and saying, I don't know if we should endorse him. And he said, I'm not going to run without the backing of the DSA, without this endorsement, which already kind of tells you the kind of person that he is and why he's running. And I remember thinking at that time, it's a long shot, but he seems cool, so why not? Maybe he will, get some more exposure to people who wouldn't have been exposed to left politics and left ideas and real left policy. And if that was all that happened and he lost by a landslide, which we would kind of expect, then maybe it still helps in that way. But I mean, he has come so far that it's just kind of crazy to me.
Yeah. Well, I think that's something that people don't understand about Zohran is not a politician who supported progressive policies and then came to DSA and asked for their endorsement and just tried to benefit off of all the volunteers and all the energy we have. Zohran is a cadre member of DSA who's been organizing with DSA for years, and he's here because he comes out of that movement. And so he is accountable to the organization and to all of the supporters across the city who believe in these policies and have donated their time and their money and their energy to this campaign. And so he's not beholden to the standard kind of progressive groups or the big donors that the Democratic Party politicians are beholden to. So that's the difference, and that's why when people ask me, oh, well, how can you trust this guy? Politicians let us down all the time. I say, yeah, you're absolutely right, but you have to look at where their support and where their power is coming from, and that's the difference.
That's an excellent point, and as you guys said, the power that he has is coming from the people. It's not coming from, the donor class, the billionaires. It's coming from all the people who gave him the ground game that he has and that have shown up for him tonight.
I mean, I would say that since Citizens United happened, the voice of we the people has not been heard in politics at all. And I think that is finally changing. Enough people are waking up and realizing that there's too much money in politics and that politicians should be beholden to nobody but the people, and that corporations have for far too long been able to run the show and make the decisions that impact millions of people's lives on a daily basis.
Absolutely, and I would ask you guys, we're talking about public servants. You guys clearly are very plugged into all of this. What do you think about Brad Lander and the cross endorsement that they've given each other? And we interviewed him last week, maybe, about his arrests at 26 Federal Plaza. And over the last week, we've been watching. And I will say for myself, I've been very impressed with the way that Brad Lander has really behaved with, I don't know. He's shown that he really is a public servant, and he's not in it for himself. That's my opinion, but what do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, a couple things. First, I think, as myself, a Jewish New Yorker, I think it's so important that we have a Jewish politician who is standing behind a Muslim politician, and they're speaking explicitly about the fact that working class people in this city, their interests are aligned, and we're not going to let these politicians drive wedges between different racial groups with this bullshit. So that's one. And two, I just think it's a great testament to the power of the ranked choice system that we have for these candidates to understand the strategy and to understand that they are actually supporting something bigger than themselves. And so I think it's really rare in politics to see politicians look beyond their own self-interest and their own ability to hold power, and just to see Brad Lander do that. And look, he's a really smart and accomplished person. He knows that cross-endorsing Zohran is probably going to end up doing more for Zohran than it does for him. And he did it anyway because he actually believes in this stuff. And so that's just really inspiring. And yeah, as someone who has had critiques of certain things and certain policies he supported in the past, I just think it's a real testament to his integrity.
I would agree.
I would just give a hard agree on everything that Milo just said. I think that one of the most beautiful things that I have seen in a long time is this solidarity between opposition politicians. When was the last time you saw a good faith debate even happen? When was the last time that you saw politicians be nice to each other without tearing one another down? The way that Lander and Mamdani came together in this election, I think, is an inspiration, and I think that it is an example for what the people want from politicians. We don't want politicians that insult one another, that tear each other down. We want politicians that lift each other up, that respect one another's opinions and say, hey, we both agree that these improvements need to happen. The only thing we disagree on is how they should be approached. And that's what it used to be, and I hope that that's something we're getting back to.
I think that's a great answer. You guys have said so much. I guess the only thing that I would ask is there a personal reason that you guys showed up for Zohran, aside from anything else that you've mentioned, as far as policies and anything else that you guys would want to share with viewers of Status Coup who might relate to other people who are out here who might not even be from the city and don't fully understand the things that are, let's say, like New York City specific? Yeah. Is there anything else that you guys would want to add on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think my biggest ask for everyone is just, if you've been inspired by this campaign, if you believe in these policies, get involved. It feels so much better, I can tell you. It feels so much better to knock on a door and talk to a voter and realize that there are so many people that believe in the stuff that we believe in and just want politicians to fight for their interests. That feels so much better than just scrolling on Twitter and being very concerned, which is what I'll be doing for the rest of the night. But after tonight, if you're in New York, the chances are we're going to have to keep going through November, so this is certainly not over. And so just get involved. It's always a little bit scary at first to knock on your first door, to make your first phone call. But trust me, it gets easier. It gets better. People, by and large, are really nice, really excited to see you. And it just feels really good. And you form so many amazing relationships with other people who share values with you. So I just couldn't recommend it enough.
Yeah, and I mean, on that note, look at what it did.
Yeah.
This is what, canvassing and phone banking and all of this stuff actually did for New York City in an election that seemed like it was just such a long shot. And again, even if he doesn't win, it's so close. We are so close. He is up in the polls right now, so we don't really know. And, I will just say, I canvassed, I phone banked, I'm here with everybody, so and it does feel good. You feel like you're actually, making some kind of change. And we get a lot of questions like that, especially from people who come to Status Coup from, let's say, like the MSNBC media sphere. And the question is, well, we wrote letters. We spoke to our representatives. We emailed them. We went to a march even. What else can we do? This is the what else. This is the next step, is organizing on the ground. Find a candidate that you believe in, that you think has real values, and go knock on doors, go phone bank, do all of that stuff. Would you add anything else to that?
I would say that, to the people that call this election a referendum on what is the Democratic Party has to look forward to, it absolutely is. But this is not the only city that can be a referendum. We have, so many New Yorkers have chosen a younger, more, progressive candidate. Any city can do what we are doing here. Whether we win or not, we've done something major. And I think it's really important, and I think that it shows that, younger folks are looking for politicians that align with them on more than just, hey, I'm a Democrat, hey, I'm a Republican. It's, hey, here are my values. Here are my morals. I want to align with you on those things, and any city office can be a referendum on that.
The only thing I would add to that wonderful wrap-up is just, also here are my policies. Here is what I can materially offer you, because I think that's...
And also, here are my policies, not here are the policies of my opponent that I don't agree with.
I think that is a very necessary clarification, yeah. Attacking someone else's policies without offering something up yourself is not that useful to us.
That's Andrew Cuomo's entire campaign.
Yeah.
And I would add Whitney Tilson's as well. I don't know what he stands for. I just know that he really doesn't like Zohran.
Yeah.
That's
He's
it.
not running for mayor. He's running to help Cuomo win.
He's just an old white rich man, once again.
Who has made some terrible videos. If you guys haven't seen them, his YouTube videos, one of the worst things I've ever seen. I assume you saw the AI.
Made me physically ill.
So for some context for anyone who hasn't seen, he made this AI video about Zohran, and it's explicitly kind of racist. I shouldn't say explicitly. It is quite racist though, and it's just a terrible piece of AI garbage. So.
It's a horrific piece of AI slop that I would completely agree is absolutely horrific.
I agree. Thank you guys so much. I don't want to keep you from the excitement for too much longer. Thank you guys so much for talking with me. I hope that New Yorkers get what we deserve tonight.
Cool.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
All right. Okay, that was Milo and Sky, who were extremely nice. We are set up right here with, I think, the next people that we're going to talk to, the next person that we're going to talk to. Hello. Hi, I'm Ashley.
Leslie.
Leslie, nice to meet you. Sorry, this is Leslie because I did not have you speak into the microphone, so.
Hello. What would you... All right.
Hi. So, again, we are outside of a bar in Manhattan where we are watching the election, trying to see if Zohran's going to win tonight. Why did you show up today? I assume that you did not rank Cuomo. You ranked Zohran number one on your ballot. Why for all of that?
Well, yes, I did rank Zohran 1 and Lander 2. I did not rank Cuomo. I really hate the man. I actually met the man and have a very long story about him, but just say he's a creep.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, if you want to give the short of it, we're happy to listen.
Caused too much trouble way back when, and I'm done.
I respect that. Long and short of it is Cuomo sucks.
There you go. Yes. And why else am I here?
Why else are you here? Why are you excited for Zohran, most importantly? Did you volunteer for the campaign? Anything like that?
I actually did not volunteer for this campaign. I actually volunteered for probably every DSA candidate since 2017. I was a founding member of the Lower Manhattan branch of the DSA. Yeah, and so very involved, but circumstances just wouldn't let me volunteer for Zohran this time. It's okay. It's hard, but too much was going on in my life, so I had to I'm just on the outside looking in and very excited about it. And I just find him to be a mesmerizing and amazing person. And that's it. Very smart. Brilliant. Yeah.
I mean, that is a wonderful statement to say about a politician. And I will say, we at Status Coup, we're not fangirls of politicians, but when someone deserves to be recognized for the good work that they're doing, I am not beyond also recognizing that. And I will say, I said with the last interview that I did, I phone banked, I canvassed, I'm very open about that. So clearly I'm in it for Zohran. I guess I would just ask, what is it specifically about what he proposed that you like so much? Is it the economic policy, anything like that?
I would say specifically yes, because I consider myself an economic populist. And that's a priority. I don't really think of much else beyond that. Sort of like the old Bernie, if everyone's needs are being met, then everyone's needs are being met. Really, that's the reality. So, if everyone has all their economic needs are met, and you have a stronger society, and I truly believe in that. And you can call it socialism, you can call it what you like. I don't know, but maybe it's some socialism. But when everyone has what they need, that's probably is socialism in a way. Everyone's sharing taxes. And, Bernie said once, April 15th should be a day of celebration, where we all can get together, put our money together, and decide what we want to do with it. And that's what I really believe in. I mean, that's some kind of reality in this country, but I do believe in that. So
I think that's wonderful. I guess I would ask also, for anyone who is watching this, and maybe is not a member of the DSA, maybe doesn't like the DSA, and just thinks that we are a bunch of leftists, essentially, what would you say to them about why Zohran is still a good choice for mayor?
Oh, okay. Because he is probably thinking of you. He obviously is not thinking of the billionaires, but they don't need to be thought of. Who cares about them?
Short and succinct. I mean, that's perfect. That's perfect. And it kind of echoes what I've heard from other people. The last couple I spoke with also said, he's for the people. And that's what people seem to think. I mean, everyone has shown up for him. A lot of people have, worked his ground game.
Yeah. Well, I guess time will tell. Again, people get in office and, they have limited power. But I think if you can understand the power structure and what he can do within it, the limited, and like 3 buses, I think is really, it may sound simple, but it's like, that's really important. Just that alone. And freezing rent. I mean, I have a rent stabilized apartment. My rent was frozen with de Blasio. That's significant. It really is. It's like that, having 3 years of not having your rent go up. It sounds small, but it's actually not. So, yeah.
I mean, especially if you live in New York City, that's not a small thing. My rent just went up by $300, and it's like, you can't always absorb that much. It is a lot, especially considering that the city itself is expensive. And if your work is here, then you have to stay here. I guess, you said so many great things. I would also ask about, for anyone who thinks that, Zohran is just, it's the young folk who are coming out. The young folk who are coming out, who are naive and don't know any better.
No, that's insanely important, because that's kind of frustrated me with the two Bernie campaigns, and that they really, really got motivated and did things for him, but they didn't go out and vote for him. And these campaigns statistically knew that and couldn't figure out why. Like, I have this following. They support him, but for some reason they did not go to the polls for him. And I am really happy that, really young people actually got out and voted, because I think it's really rare. I don't think that should be dismissed. I think it's really important. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I hear cheering inside. I don't want to keep you from whatever is happening. Thank you so much. No. The door is open. You are good. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Have a great rest of your night. I hope that New York gets what we need. Thank you so much. Okay. We're going to move a little bit. Let's see. Let's see if I have some updates here. Okay, by 10:30, 11, so not that long from now, we should have a good idea of the first round results. Okay, and I'm just going to see what things are looking like right now. Sorry, guys. 2 seconds. So, Zohran is still in first place with 43.5% of the vote. Cuomo behind him with 36.3% of the vote, and Brad Lander still a distant third at now 11.4% of the vote. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Zohran is certainly leading right now, and we will see. And we're going to talk to more people. So we have someone ready to talk to us right now. All right. Hello.
Hi, hey, what's up?
Hi. Okay. Oh, we can be in front of the,
we in front of this?
Right here? Okay.
We're doing it from this angle?
Yeah.
Okay,
we are good here. Thank you so much for talking with us. I'm Ashley, by the way.
Nice to meet you, Ashley.
Nice to meet you. All right. So, we are obviously watching the DSA watch party for New York City Mayor tonight to see if Zohran's going to win. How do you feel about being here? Tell me how excited you are.
I am extremely excited. And Zohran Mamdani, here we go. We're going to win.
There's so many people out here. can I ask, did you volunteer for his campaign? Were you canvassing, phone banking?
Yeah. I volunteered for the campaign to help out with some of the stuff, labor side, as like, especially for me, as like a shop floor activist who, does everything he can to bring his coworkers together to fight, to make conditions better for us, in our workplaces. I look at Zohran's campaign and I'm like, it's the only one for me. It's the only one for me.
I love that. We talk a lot about labor here at Status Coup. Always happy to find an opportunity to do so. So talk to me about labor. Tell me why Zohran would be best for the labor movement.
Well, okay, so, one of the things that we all recognize is, that labor is really struggling to have the reemergence that seems to be promised by all of these different things going on right now, right? We see stuff going on at Amazon. We see stuff going on at Starbucks, It's exciting, but it hasn't translated to a massive amount of American workers, organizing into unions and fighting against the boss to actually make conditions better for our lives, right? But I know that Zohran cares about that. I've known Zohran for a good long time. I knew him back before we voted him into assembly. And even back then, he took the time to chat with me about, what do working conditions look like for folks on the shop floor, and what do labor organizers need in order to be successful in our endeavors, what we can do to actually, put power into the hands of workers, so workers are ourselves, right? So workers themselves can be the agent of change.
That's wonderful. That's so great to hear that you've known him for a long time, and it seems like his values have been very consistent over that time.
Yeah. There's a lot of good things there.
That's excellent. So what else would you say as a New Yorker? Yeah. I assume you live in the city. You are subject to, let's say, the affordability crisis.
The what?
The affordability crisis of the city. So what would you say about all of that? Are Zohran's policies something that you think will help to resolve that?
I'm really excited about it. Ultimately, though, I think that it's really easy for politicians just to put up whatever policies, to mimic them, to, that's really easy, right? We saw that happen with this race, right? Zohran would put forward this policy, that policy, and other politicians would just jump on and be miming them, right? And look, that's great. It's great that politicians are recognizing that they need to follow DSA's lead. It's great. I love to hear that. Love to see it, right? But ultimately, what's actually important is that the politicians are connected to a movement that has the ability to keep them accountable, that there is a real relationship there, so that it is workers' needs, right? It is us as workers that are able to dictate what the policy looks like, what the agenda is, that there's a relationship there that can encourage accountability. And ultimately, we as workers have to have the power to be able to say, hey, politicians, do what we say, or you don't get to continue having the status that you get to hold, right?
Or your jobs.
Yeah. Your jobs, yeah, but the status, the power to dictate what our lives look like, that has to be by the consent of working people. And I think it's amazing to see DSA have so much success in creating that here in New York City. It's astounding. It's incredible.
It really is. You mentioned before, Zohran's kind of like rise. You remember him before he was an assembly member. I remember when the DSA was talking about, do we endorse this guy? What do we do? And I remember thinking at that time, I shared this earlier in the night, that would be cool. He seems like a cool guy, like his policies, all of that. It's a long shot, but at the very least it might showcase some of real left policy, real left politics, and all of that kind of stuff. And maybe, we can expose some more people, pull some more people over to the left. We have well and surpassed that.
Yeah.
We are here. He is in the lead, running against Andrew Cuomo, who, I mean, had no ground game to speak of. This was, he has the backing of super PACs and billionaires and the donor class and all of that, the traditional constituency of the Democratic Party. Zohran has canvassers and volunteers. That's who showed up for him.
I think that ultimately one of the lessons that will come from this is that none of them can do what we do. None of them can do what we do. I mean, we're willing to do the hard work that it takes to change the world. We're committed to it. There's thousands, tens of thousands of people who are spending their time, not paid to do it, right? But are out here doing what needs to be done because we care about bringing the change that we need to see in the world. And that you can't buy that. You just can't buy that, And I think that, the future is going to be very interesting, specifically because I think the lesson that billionaires, that colonialists will take from this is that it's not, you can't just compete by throwing money at it. This is another circumstance, just like Ocasio 2018, which, I got to see as well, where there's money being thrown at it. But ultimately, what we do as regular working people, the dedication that we show, the passion that we have for trying to make the world a better place, that outweighs whatever they can do.
And just so that this does not become a ad for the DSA, I will ask you about the Democrats and what this says about Democrats. They have spent, I think it was $20 million recently to figure out how to talk to young white men. You are a young man. What?
Thank you.
You are definitely young. You're definitely in the age brackets of who they're talking to.
Yeah.
So they spent $20 million trying to figure out how to get you over to their side. I think, what does this say? What does this say? Because clearly people have been pulled over to Zohran, and there's a reason for it. And I think it kind of becomes pretty clear what the actual reason for them coming over is.
What you think it's clear what the reason is?
Yes. Yeah. Well, what would you say? What would you say the reason for, the Democrats' kind of, I guess, failure is a better way to put it, because they spend so much money on messaging, on trying to talk to people and figuring out how can we talk to our constituents? How can we talk to the Democratic base? And I think tonight says, this is what people want. And if you offer them something, you can get people to show up. You can pull people over to the Democratic base. You can do that. It's just that you have to actually have something that the people want. Give the people what they want. Yeah, of course. I think that, maybe I'm a downer when it comes to talking about specifically the issue of young men, but I still don't think that necessarily either the Democrat left or even the socialist left has actually figured out, what to do in terms of relating to men. That's my assessment of the situation that we're in. But I'm glad that at least, we're thinking about it. A lot of people don't realize this, but in New York City, I think men under 35 make less than women. For just specifically New York City. There's a few places in the U.S. where that is true, and it's not by a lot, and it's a specific age group. But that's highly significant when it comes to talking about our politics, right? And I'm not sure if we figured it out yet about, hey, what do we do about, men not going to college as much anymore, right? What do we do about the specific struggles of men? I'm not sure if we've solved that, but I do like to see that there's men. Obviously, one thing that this election has shown is that men in New York City are not going to prioritize,
bullshit talking points that Republicans commonly say in order to, we're not going to buy that form of politics here. We recognize it as just a way to get us to buy into supporting corporations, and we're not going to hate trans people so that we can, love and dick ride corporations. We're not going to do that.
Absolutely. I guess I would just also say, I think that part of what you said, there is some answer in there, right? People, you don't need to have like a specific, how do I talk to young men?
Yeah.
You can talk to people, and I think working people, as you said, it's pretty clear by the turnout that people just want some kind of policy that will affect them materially in a positive way. They want free buses, they want free childcare, they want a rent freeze, they want all of these things that Zohran is promoting. It's not that hard, and I feel we at Status Coup talk a lot about Democrats, and one of my main critiques is pretty much this, that they spend a lot of time and energy and money learning how to talk to people when voters don't want to be spoken to, they just want them to do their jobs. And again, there is a massive affordability crisis in the city. People just want to be able to live.
Yeah, I think that being able to live would be great.
I agree. Is there anything else that you would want to add to the viewers of Status Coup about tonight, about the excitement that is here at this bar in Manhattan?
I know that you didn't want it to be a DSA advertisement, but the truth, this night is a DSA advertisement. It shows that DSA has answers to dealing with the situation that we're in, and no one else does. That's just the truth in terms of actually being able to have any kind of material change, right? There's a lot of groups who are doing a lot of good stuff, but if you are looking specifically for a strategy or an endeavor that can affect electoral politics currently in the United States, and especially in New York City, DSA is the only answer towards getting us there. That as things stand at this moment, we'll see what the future brings. But this night, a good lesson to take from tonight would be that New York City socialists are doing what we can to create the future that all of us need.
Thank you so much. That was all extremely well put. I love talking labor with you. Thank you again.
Absolutely.
Have a wonderful rest of your night in the bar. I won't keep you too much from any more excitement. I hear some booing.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. We'll see. I hear "fuck you, Cuomo."
It'll be a good time.
All right. Thank you again. Have a great night.
Yeah, you too.
All right. All right, guys, I am just reading some quick updates. I am also going to take a drink of water. It's extremely hot. There is a heat wave in New York City, as I'm sure most people are aware. It's very hot. I'm sure John is also very hot. I am also going to, on camera, offer John a glass of water. Do you want some of your water that's on the sidewalk? Okay. All right. I'm going to take a quick drink of water. I will be back in a second, and then I will read some updates to you guys. I was confused. I turned around and John was not where I left him, and it's hot. I'm tired, so forgive me for being lost. So, looking at updates, I want to see if there's anything I can share that I've been missing. What we've been talking to people outside. Update from Jordan, longtime New York City political writer Michael Lang calls it for Zohran. I've seen enough, he says. Zohran Mamdani has won the Democratic primary for New York City mayor, defeating Andrew Cuomo. We're witnessing political history before our eyes. Okay, Zohran projected to win first round of mayoral race. And we are now moving to ranked choice voting, where he is expected to win. Okay, so updates for you guys. That's crazy. That's really crazy. And I have another wonderful person who has an excellent... Okay, good. I love your T-shirt, by the way.
Thank you. My name's Adriana.
Adriana, nice to meet you. Okay, so we just got the news that it looks like Zohran might have won the primary. How do you feel right now?
I feel elated, honestly. I am a native New Yorker from Brooklyn, and I feel like our city's leadership has been failing us for so long, and I'm so excited by Zohran's positive, hopeful, optimistic vision for a better city.
That's wonderful. I guess I would ask, what of his policies resonates with you the most?
That's a great question. I think that for me, what we've seen under Eric Adams is years and years of austerity budgets where we act like we don't have the money to fund social services, schools, trains, really critical things that people use every single day. And Zohran is telling the truth when he says we do actually have the money to fund them, and we can fund them even more if we tax the rich, which is something that a vast majority of New Yorkers and Americans support, and it should be a no-brainer. So.
Yeah, and I would just add on that note about how we're going to pay for this, because as a leftist, that is the question that always gets asked. How are you going to pay for these, pie-in-the-sky policies? I mean, his proposal is basically we're going to increase the corporate tax rate to, I think, 11.5%, which will bring in $5 billion for the city, which is what New Jersey already has. New Jersey's tax rate is already at, I believe, 11.5%. I believe, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that Connecticut is maybe 11%, maybe a little bit higher. So it's in the ballpark. So other places already do this. There's no reason why we can't. I mean, the only reason as to why everybody's very excited tonight. No, you guys are good. Happy to have the excitement around.
Yeah, we're all really excited.
Everybody's excited. I guess I would add again, other places do have these things, but right here in the U.S., we're not talking like other countries have these policies. The corporate tax rate is the same in New Jersey as what's being proposed by Zohran.
Yeah.
So I guess how do you feel? How do you feel about knowing all of that, and that the policies, it really wouldn't take us much to actually fund them? What would you say to people whose, main critique is always, well, we don't have the money for that, we can't pay for that?
Yeah, I think that what I have to say to those people is that unfortunately you've been deceived and lied to for a really long time. And it's really unfortunate that all of these solutions that are actually really easy to implement haven't been implemented. We've been cheated. A lot of people don't believe in the political system for a reason, and hopefully I think this is a turn in the better direction.
There is so much cheering from inside. I'm going to hold on to you. Jordan, our main reporter, is calling me right now. Hello.
I might go, let me see.
Cuomo just conceded. Okay. I lost Adriana, but I'm on the phone with Jordan. Cuomo just conceded the race. That is the cheering inside. I will let you go, and we will celebrate on the sidewalk. Okay. Holy shit. Cuomo just conceded. Zohran Mamdani he won the primary at least. All right. So, okay, this is the crowd in Manhattan as Zohran Mamdani just won the primary. We have more people who want to talk, so I am going to come over here. Hello.
Hi.
Want to get some initial reactions?
Yes.
So, how do you guys feel right now?
Very excited. I think that this shows that real change is possible. This is the win we really needed. I think it, is bringing inspiration to a lot of people. Just really happy, as you can hear.
I think a lot of us young kids saw what happened with Bernie, and we didn't want that to happen again. We didn't want the the Democrats to take an actual viable candidate for the people and push them out of the primaries again.
I mean, they tried. They were pushing last-minute money into Cuomo, and
The racist campaigns against him, the advertisements was insane, but we showed out in millions and, you know, we really got the job done. Pretty much. I don't want to jinx it, but it sounds like it.
I mean, at least the primary, right? Who knows what's going to happen? I'm not trying to rain on anybody's parade. I think we all deserve this moment. I live in New York, subject to all of the reasons why anyone would vote for Zohran. I phone banked, I canvassed. Pleased with it. Excellent.
Yep. I was canvassing. We were in the pouring rain, in the 95-degree heat, canvassing, you know, walking up and down stairs, but, you know, really believed in it and I feel really passionately about his campaign and very excited. Yeah.
I think that we get a lot of questions at Status Coup. We talk a lot about organizing. We cover a lot of protests and rallies and that kind of thing. We always get questions about what else can people do? What else can you do besides email and yell at the TV or go to a march? What can you do? This shows people who might not believe that there's something that you can do that maybe it's not worth it to organize. Organizing does something. Exactly. Tonight is evidence that organizing, canvassing, phone banking, all the things that you guys showed up to do, it gets results.
Yeah, it's really showing the Democrats how to run a campaign that appeals to the masses, you know, a populist campaign, and hopefully, you know, they take notes, and yeah, it's just really exciting.
I think the most important thing we can take away from today is that the campaign doesn't end just because we won the primary. I think keep organizing, join local groups around your community, keep spreading the message, tell people about Zohran, really get to know his policies and spread them around, because the real push is going to come in November.
Yeah, and I guess I would add to that, you know, we know that it's entirely possible that Cuomo and Adams will try to put up an independent fight to still win the mayoral race, which I think is kind of insane coming from a party that always tells us, do not vote third party. If you vote third party, you are allowing Trump or whoever else to win. It's going to be kind of crazy to see what the messaging around third parties becomes when we're facing Zohran Mamdani as mayor for New York City.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think a lot of the hypocrisy in the Democratic Party is going to start coming out, and the party's going to begin to unravel with this, because clearly there's a popular political candidate, and that's not the one that they want. And so a lot of their hypocrisy, like you said, about the third party voting policies, stuff like that, are going to start to unravel and really come to light. And I think a lot of people are going to lose faith in the party.
I think a lot of people are going to come out against ranked choice voting now. I think that's going to be a big thing in the media, and we're definitely going to see a big push against Mamdani. Even in the last few days, I've seen a ton of racist rhetoric on Twitter. You know, people saying that they don't want a Muslim as mayor, you know, awful Islamophobic things that would absolutely not be acceptable if it was any other, you know, if it was anti-Semitism, that would be, you know, absolutely not okay. So I think we need to be really careful and vigilant going forward, for sure.
I think those are all really great points. And, you know, on that, they tried to paint him as anti-Semitic, all of these other things, to a degree that none of the other candidates were you know, forced to endure. And it's crazy. The money is pouring in, the racist attack ads are pouring in, and even from other candidates like Whitney Tilson, who put out a spate of ads. I'm not sure if you guys saw them, but he put out some, you know, the ads had racist undertones. They were not good. And that's from another, you know, candidate in this election. So, I mean, I guess I would just ask to wrap up, as working people, what are you, I'm trying to think of what a good wrap up would be. I mean, as working people of New York City, what are you looking forward to? I mean, I'm trying to be cautiously optimistic. I want to be realistic, all of that. But what are you guys most looking forward to in this moment where I think we're all allowed to say, this is a win?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is, obviously his whole platform is having an affordable New York City. I would love to start a savings account. That's something I want to do. Hopefully with him as mayor, I'm able to. I can afford to do that. And just, you know, having the hope and the optimism back with my comrades. You know, everyone was feeling really discouraged for a while, especially with the administration and everything going on in Palestine and the genocide. And so I think that, you know, having this win is really huge for morale and for, you know, getting the fight back in us, you know? Yeah.
Excellent answer.
Well, I'm actually a full-time master's student right now. I'm finishing up. I graduate on Saturday.
Congratulations. This is a perfect, like, pre-graduation present for you.
But I'm looking to get a job, and like, there have been many times in this city where, as a student working on, I'm doing music. I haven't been able to make it to school because my card would decline like on the subway, and I wouldn't be able to get on the bus. I wouldn't be able to make it because it just has become very unaffordable. There have been days when I haven't been able to eat food because it's just like I can't afford the groceries and stuff like that. And so I think taking at least this first step, more public transport, better healthcare, and like
Funded grocery stores,
stuff like that. That'll help all of us. People, students, people that are working, people that are even the wealthier people. I mean, like, it's everyone, and that's what I care about. It's not a specific group.
Yeah.
I think that's a wonderful way to wrap it up, to, kind of comment on, like, why so many people showed up for him, and what I've heard from other people, the way that I feel myself, it's people want to be offered material things. And we have been subject to the hollowing out of the working class over the last 40 plus years. It has gotten to a degree that, like, as you said, like, you sometimes can't afford subway fare to get to class or can't afford groceries. I feel all of those same pressures as well living in New York City, and something has to give. And I am glad to have a candidate, someone who just won the primary, who is at least trying.
Exactly.
That's all we ask.
That's all we ask. Someone who really cares about New Yorkers, who lives in the city, and who is passionate about what he's fighting for and cares about us. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. It was a pleasure. Go enjoy the rest of the night. Of course. All right. Okay, there's a lot of people watching. I am so pleased to hear that there's so many people watching while we were just on the sidewalk in Manhattan after Zohran's primary win. Crazy. If you are new to Status Coup, you should subscribe. Like, follow us. If you are not a member, you should become a member. Become a member at StatusCoup.com/join. It costs us a lot to do this. I will say, John and I drove around for quite a while trying to find a watch party that we could actually film in tonight. It costs gas, it costs, human resources, all of that kind of stuff. You can help us to do more of this by becoming a member for as little as $5 a month, 16 cents a day. It is not much. If you want to see more coverage like this, of rallies, of what's happening on the ground, what's happening with the DSA right now, which just won an election for mayor of New York City. That was because of all the people on the ground, the working people of New York City, the people that we try to show you what they're doing, let you hear their voices, what their concerns are. We need your help to do that. You can support us. You can support independent journalism by becoming a member at StatusCoup.com/join. And we are out here celebrating Zohran's win. I am. I guess we will look for more people to talk to. We'll hang out for as long as people are hanging out tonight. Let's see if I have any more updates for you guys. I mean, I guess not. I think that's kind of it. Zohran has won the primary. Cuomo has conceded. And we will see what Cuomo does next. And we do have people to talk to. Excellent. Very cool. Hello. Hi, I'm Ashley.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Esha.
Esha, nice to meet you. So, Zohran he won the primary. How do you feel?
Oh my God, I'm so excited and honestly very, very pleasantly surprised. I gotta admit, like, earlier this morning I was at the voting poll of the place, and I saw a lot of older people, not a lot of young people out there who I know are the most mobilized demographic for Zohran, and I was like, oh my God, I don't think it's gonna happen, but it happened, and I'm so excited. And I feel like this is great news for the city.
I agree. What about him excites you the most? Is it his policy? Is it his social media game? What is it about Zohran that makes you excited about politics and being involved and voting and all of that?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I've always been involved in politics, but I think this campaign uniquely activated the younger
demographic in a way that I feel like a lot of other Democratic candidates haven't been able to do successfully. So I feel excited that like hopefully this is just like the start of a movement maybe, and like it's like hope for the future of the Democrats in America, and more mobilization in the future, and more people getting involved in politics. A lot of my friends who've never voted before voted for the first time in this election, and this is awesome news, and I was really happy.
Absolutely. And what would you say to Democrats about this win? What does this say about them and their party, and the offerings that they have given the working people of not just New York City but the whole country?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's Zohran is probably like I said, like almost like a figurehead now in the Democratic campaign of someone who has this grassroots movement, like not accepting bigger donations from super PACs and such, who is able to succeed and actually win. I think in my lifetime there hasn't really been anyone who's kind of succeeded, who gained the popularity, gained the momentum among the young people, and actually made it there. So I feel like it's a beacon of hope. Yeah.
That's so wonderful. I would add, were you at the watch party right now?
No, we actually finished dinner and we walked by, and I was like, "What is this? Is this like a pride event or something?" But no, I just found out from these people over here that Cuomo is just conceded, and I'm so happy. We were just discussing at dinner. I was like, I wonder what's happening with the election.
That's awesome. I love that you stopped to talk and stopped to see what was going on. I had a sense that you were just kind of pulled off the street. That is great. That is great. Do you have any other message that you would want to add for viewers of Status Coup about being a working person in New York City, about this, against all odds kind of win for Zohran tonight, before I let you get back to your leftovers and all that?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my only message is that I'm really proud of, the young people today, and I feel like we really pulled out, and we do have power in our vote, and it is worth something. And I feel like oftentimes it can feel people can feel, disenchanted almost with all these people talking about big policy, and you vote and nothing happens. But I don't know, this is a really hopeful moment and a hopeful day, and I'm really happy about it.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate you talking with us.
Thank you. Yeah.
Sorry to make you change it.
No worries.
Enjoy the rest of your dinner. Enjoy the rest of your night in New York City. Thank you so much. All right. So we're talking to more people. So many people are outside. Everybody's excited. People want to talk. Hi. Do you want to talk with us about why you're excited? Sure. Anything at all? I'm Ashley, by the way.
Oh, Ashley, I'm Sam. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Sam. So, again, we just heard the news that Zohran won. Yeah. He defeated Andrew Cuomo. He won. How do you feel? What thoughts do you have right now?
I mean, it's pretty crazy. I don't know if anyone expected it to be called this early and to be this decisive. So I think that really shows people of my generation coming out to vote. I could just see all over social media, talking to my friends, people are really engaged in this election, even more than some previous presidential elections. So for that to be a primary in the hottest day of summer, just on and off here is pretty. It gives me hope for just the general political engagement of my peers. And then
I think the heat wave did work out in our favor maybe today.
Oh, you think so? I don't know. I think there's a lot of early voting, so people made sure that their vote was going to count. Yeah.
Early voting numbers were much. I don't remember the exact statistics, but they were much higher than last cycle. So you're right. A lot of people early voted. I guess I would ask, as a resident of New York City, as a working person, what drew you to Zohran and his campaign?
Sorry, what was the last part?
What drew you to Zohran and his campaign?
I don't know if working person is a super fair characteristic yet. I'm still in school. I'm working right now in the summer, so hopefully that leads to future employment. But yeah, no, I think one of the big things for me is transit. I think that's one of the things that really sets New York apart and really contributes a lot to the affordability. I know that there's kind of the affordability crisis right now with housing, but I think kind of the only thing that is helping a lot of people to survive is the accessibility to transit and being able to get to work, get to school without paying for a car, paying for gas, all those things. And I really think like we've just underinvested in transit over the past, I don't know, 80 years, 60, 80 years, something like that. And Cuomo like will point to the 2nd Avenue subway, but just like the management of that, not good. Obviously, he forced out Train Daddy at the MTA. So yeah, I was like reading more about Zohran's proposal for the free buses. I'm not like totally 100% sure, but I think that that's like a really good idea. And obviously, like the pilot was super successful, so I'm excited to see how that goes, like citywide. Also, I think a lot of people will tell you the bus is already free. There's like a lot of fare evasion on that, so I think that just like recognizing like it's an investment, right? It's not free; it's an investment. We're investing in like people getting to work. So yeah, I see Zohran is like really at the end of the day, that's what it is. I feel like he's investing in people, and his policies are really trying to make it easier for people to work and for people to like, you know, make money, which will come back to New York City and contribute to the vibrancy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would ask, it does not feel like Andrew Cuomo was super excited to invest in the people of New York City. I mean, to be honest, it did not seem like he was all that excited to run at all. There was no real ground game. There was no, you know, canvassing, and we saw, I think I saw a video this morning where, you know, he has, you know, paid canvassers, essentially, yeah, who I saw a video told Zohran this morning that he was voting for Zohran. So I don't know. It doesn't seem like that many people were all that excited, but I mean, it was a close race despite all of that. Do you have any thoughts on anything else as far as the campaigns go?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you said. He spent a lot of money, so that certainly shows something. But yeah, I don't know if his heart was in it. It feels like he's trying to just recover his flailing political career. I don't know. Call me old-fashioned, but like, I think that when you have credible sexual harassment charges, like, you should just bow to politics. You know what I mean? Like, there are other ways that you can, if he really cared about helping New York City, helping New York State, helping the United States, I think there are other ways for him to do that. And it probably starts with him. But, yeah, I think that's what I got for that.
Do you want to add anything else to the people of Status Coup who are watching this right now? Anything about New York City, about tonight and the excitement of tonight? Anything at all?
Yeah, I guess for anyone who's watching and can't like be here and feel it, it's like great energy, very optimistic. People are excited, but definitely also like the work really starts now. I think that, I don't know, we'll see how the general election goes. If he still runs as an independent, it could get a little dicey just with so many people still in the race. And then even
for sure, and you know, we're talking about Cuomo, who is considering running as an independent. We don't know. I know Eric Adams had also said that he would be running third party. So I think on that, it will be interesting to see the Democrats and their messaging around running third party, which, you know, we know people who vote third party are typically chastised for doing so. You know, if you voted third party, it's your fault that Trump got elected to office. We hear a lot of things like that from the Democrats. I mean, I would be curious how any of that changes if it is Andrew Cuomo who is running third party against Zohran.
Yeah, I don't have the answers. I don't have a crystal ball. It's definitely, I think, something to think about. Yeah, and then even if, you know, like fingers crossed, even if Zohran wins the general election, I think that there will like continue to be challenges just in terms of like the support / approval that's required from Albany and from Washington. But I think we kind of already knew that we weren't going to get much from the latter. So, yeah, I mean, that's like my biggest concern, I guess, is just like you can see all the vitriol that was like part of this campaign and all the people who are spending billions, you know, trying to sway this election. So you just kind of worry about what they'll do now, but hopefully like they'll accept that like this is what the people have said, and just like, you know, put their differences aside and try and work towards making New York great. Because I think that hopefully I think that is what's in everyone's heart.
That is very well said. Yeah, I mean, we hope for the best for the people of this city, for all the working people of this city. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you for talking. This was great. It's really nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
All right. Have a good rest of your celebration. Thank you. All right, guys. Okay. Okay, I'm going to take just a couple seconds to read super chats, all that kind of stuff. Unless we have someone who wants to talk. Which we do. Okay, so I will wait on the super chats. We have...
Before we go on, I just want to say no other channel is doing what we're doing right now, on the ground, talking with voters. So please support us, become a member, statuscoup.com/join. Nobody else is giving you this type of coverage. All right, back to Ashley.
Yes to everything that John said. Yes to everything John said, and we're going to keep talking to more people on the ground. Hi, I'm Ashley.
I'm Joe.
Nice to meet you, Joe. How excited are you right now?
I'm pretty excited. I don't know how to quantify it because I was petitioning in the middle of winter for this campaign when it had no polling percentage. It was like 2 or 3%, and we just fucking won. So, and I spent like the last 2 weeks doing it every second of free time I had. So it's pretty exciting. I don't know what to say.
That is awesome. I would ask you about your work volunteering for the campaign. For people across the country who are not watching, who might not be in New York City, who are, you know, in other places, what would you say about the value of organizing on the ground, volunteering your time to a candidate that you believe in, that might be a long shot, right? When you started organizing during the winter, I don't think anybody thought that we'd be standing here. I certainly didn't. I would have loved to have thought it.
He did. He would tell anybody who would listen that he thought he could win it. And I feel like most of us were just like, let him try it. So yeah, he did. I'll give him that credit. Everyone else was like, I'm in DSA. Like, none of this happens without DSA, by the way. We have 10,000 people on the ground that are all doing the work. Every single field leader, most of them came out of DSA. All the early money came out of DSA, came out of people like me bothering my parents. Like, it comes out of us. And so to have it kind of come into this culmination, like he was our elected in 2020. I met him through that when I was in college still. It's just like, I don't know, we built this campaign out of it, and I'm very excited for all of us. I mean, we are trying to build a bigger movement and a bigger party here, and we got it, so.
I've tried so hard to not have tonight just be like a big ad for the DSA, but it has become very hard. I mean, DSA, they had the volunteers to make Zohran's campaign possible. I mean, he's part of DSA, obviously. He's part of DSA. He had the endorsement of DSA. That's where all these people come from. They come from the DSA and people who volunteered through that. And again, I would just say, like, for people who are skeptical that we can get anything nice for ourselves, obviously we still have the general to get through. But he did win the primary tonight against Andrew Cuomo, who has super PACs and the billionaire class behind him. He still got this far, and it's because of the grassroots campaign, the grassroots movement that he started that, you know, has been held on the back of the DSA. So I guess I would ask, do you have anything else that you would want to add to that? And for anyone who, again, is no, you're good. For anyone, you know, who's watching this and maybe hasn't taken the step to campaign for anyone, to organize, to do any of this real on-the-ground work, what would you say about what, you know, tonight's big win says about all of this, says about organizing, says about grassroots campaigns?
Join the org, join the party. I mean, there's that, and then once you're out there, your neighbors are more they want what you want too. You shouldn't be afraid of the people around you. It's a pro-social campaign. I think a lot of what gets lost in canvassing is a lot of it is pro-social. A lot of people are afraid of each other now. They don't want to be around each other. The whole point of getting out and doing it like this is that you meet everybody and you realize they want the same things. I mean, the freeze the rent thing. Every single person at the door is like, holy shit, I want my rent frozen. I want my fucking rent frozen. So I think that is what you get out of this. And also, to me, what this also says is that Israel is electoral poison now in the Democratic Party, as it fucking should be. I mean, one of the first things Zohran said to us in DSA, one of the first things he said on the trail, if Netanyahu comes to this city when he's mayor, he's going to jail. I want to see him follow it up. If he comes to this fucking city, I want him to go to jail. You can't kill 200,000 people and get away with it. You're going to fucking lose here if you do it. Sorry.
No, you're good. I mean, clearly, most people in here agree with you, and they share your excitement. They share your passion for, I don't know, everything that's going on, all of the working class politics that you've just mentioned. And, you know, I mean, I guess I would ask a little bit more about that. How did you feel about the debate and everyone being asked, if you are elected mayor of New York City, what country would you visit? And the kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a setup. It was a setup for him. I mean, they were waiting for him, a bunch of people to say Israel and him not to say it and them to follow up on him. And I think what I really respect about him is when they give him those setups, even if he says some things that I wouldn't 100% endorse as well, what he does is he shows how silly they are. So when he says, I would go to it as a state with equal rights, and they're like, whoa, that means you won't go to it as a Jewish state. He's like, why can't I go to it? Why can't I expect equal rights? Why can't we expect it to not be an apartheid state? So that's kind of what I see.
Yeah, I think that's all really well articulated. And I guess I would ask, as a working person of this city, how would his policies, if we are so lucky to get him in office and he is able to do the things that, the campaign has drawn so many people in with, how would that change your life? How would that affect your life as a resident of New York City?
I mean, there's the obvious things. It's transit and housing becoming much more affordable. It becomes easier to live here. It becomes easier to work here. You kind of have a pro-social political environment. It develops people into a more kind of working class consciousness when they think about politics, when they talk about their jobs. I work in the labor movement, so if you have that kind of politics developing, you might see a reinvigoration of these unions. You might see a kind of correcting of this 60-year kind of trend in America of this like long-running failure of the left and the labor movement. Like you see, I know electoralism isn't a panacea and a fix for everything, but it's like all these little sparks or stepping ladders, it's always to the next thing, right? So a union, we negotiate contracts with the city all the time where I work. Having an easier fucking city to negotiate with makes the workers' jobs better immediately. You know what I mean? It really is that simple. When you have people in positions that matter, they fix things for you. They make things easier for you. And that's kind of the role of electoralism, and it's the role of socialist electoralism especially, is that like we come out here as socialists and we say we want to build the working class, we want to build the labor movement, we want to build an actual left in this country that hasn't had one since CPUSA went under. Like, you can do all those things by putting yourself out in the community like this. I don't know.
That was all extremely well said. I will just add, you were the second labor person that we spoke to tonight, and we cover a lot of like labor issues at Status Coup. I don't know. I mean, you kind of laid everything out. I would want to ask, is there anything else, as someone who is invested in the labor movement, what does Zohran's win mean for the labor movement? Is there anything else that you would want to add on that?
I mean, you see the backing of, like, Shawn Fain is the best labor leader in the country right now. Shawn Fain really leaned hard in the last couple of weeks. Like, there are ties to a national movement here. I know Shawn Fain wants May Day 2028 to be a kind of huge pushback in American politics. Labor movement's been shrinking progressively in this country. I would love for that to stop. I would love to turn it around. I would love for us to regain control of our workplaces, to put democracy out of some stuffy ballot box, which are already starting. This isn't very fucking, I mean, it's hot and there's no air, but it's not stuffy in that way in there. And to take that kind of democracy we feel when we go get, thousands and thousands of new voters, of young people to come out and come vote and work for a candidate. I mean, a lot of these people didn't even, I'm in DSA, we're bringing people in to work on canvases that have never canvassed for anything before. And some of them are old people that haven't worked since Obama 08, which, like, whatever you feel about that. I know how I feel. But, like, they haven't done anything in 15 years and they want to do something again. And now it's our movement. It's not an amorphous kind of liberal Democratic Party thing. And so, when it's all funneled into the same kind of left structure, you might actually see a country that disentangles itself from all this kind of capitalistic structure that ruins how we live in our apartments with exorbitant rents and all these landlords. And it also extricates itself from kind of foreign conflict driven by capitalism and profit and imperialism.
I mean, I think I would want to comment on one thing that you said, which I think is great. It's like, if we can have this in New York City and we can show other people what it's like, they will want that.
Yeah.
They will want that. And I would ask you, what do you think that says about Democrats and all of the things that have been offered? I mean, you mentioned Obama and what has been happening for the last 15 years. Is there anything else that you would add about that? And again, what this means for the Democratic Party moving forward?
I mean, I think they're on notice now. I think they just lost an election to one of our insurgents, to a member of the left. It's a thing they've been fighting against since at least the 70s. So, they're going to get harder, they're going to get scarier, they're going to get meaner. It's going to be another fight. I'm originally from Chicago. I currently go to grad school in Boston. So those two cities both kind of have liberal progressive mayors that are kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum, but they're both outside of the organized left or DSA as it exists. You know what I mean? So like a Brandon can win as a member of a liberal movement, like Brandon Johnson in Chicago. That doesn't mean you get this kind of excitement or this kind of pivot because he's stuck in the same old party and the same old politics. The whole point of this is, and especially with the way DSA runs its campaigns on the Dem ballot line, but intentionally to capture it, right? Like we don't do that because we want to be Democrats so bad. I certainly don't. We do that because you want to win and you want to be able to convert Democratic Party energy or voters into an actual political movement for the left itself. So I think you see when people don't do that and they have similar wins. Brandon Johnson beat Paul Vallis in Chicago and Mayor Wu is doing better in Boston, but it's kind of the same idea that you're kind of extricated from the actual forces of the left itself. Zohran is not. Zohran comes out of this. He was in DSA working groups in like 2019. He's like as much of a kind of random meeting guy as the rest of us are. And that's kind of where the power comes out of it. That you actually have someone who knows the structure and wants the same things.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that sentiment echoed by so many people. I think one couple I spoke to earlier said, he gets his power from the people.
Yeah.
He gets his power from the people, not from super PACs, not from billionaires. And, that's why he was able to draw so many people out and get people like you so excited for, as you said, the first time. I went through Bernie's stolen loss. Yeah. So we were there for that. And, I think that the DSA, the left, has learned from that. Clearly, because we are here tonight. Yeah. So I just think that that's all. Yeah, I think that's all really interesting. Everything you said was wonderful. I would ask if you have anything else that you would want to add for viewers of Status Coup about tonight, about the state of left politics, anything at all.
I mean, job's not finished. You got to win the general. That's 1, 2. Send Bibi to jail. End the war in Gaza. And 3, you can do this in your city. DSA has chapters in every single city, every single state. Go find your chapter. Go build it. Even if it's small and weak now, you can go make it stronger. New York had its own share of losses at different times. Zohran started on Qadir al-Yatim, who lost in Bay Ridge. You lose, and then you keep trying, and you change your strategy, and then you fucking win. And when you win, it feels this nice. So that's what I'd say.
That's excellent. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So much, huh? No, you're good. You're at home here. All right, have a good one. Okay, again, I would just add, this is not a DSA ad. I haven't mentioned my actual affiliation until tonight. And also, we have a beautiful dog who showed up for Zohran tonight. Hi. What is your dog's name? Judy. Hi, Judy. Judy, do you have anything that you want to add? I cannot pet this dog. I'm sorry. Cutest dog of the night. Still, Judy is taken in by the excitement. Oh. Okay, so again, guys, clearly people are still outside here. People are still really excited. Judy does not want to leave because there's so much going on. Again, this is kind of a crazy night. I have shared this several times now. Again, when the DSA was again considering their endorsement of Zohran for mayor, I did not think that this was a realistic possibility. I was happy to see someone run on policies that will help working people with their material lives. But also, I just didn't think that this was possible. So this is crazy. We have some other people, I believe, who are ready to talk. I'm just really quickly going to see if we have any updates here. Okay, so we are good. We are good to talk to another person who showed up tonight for Zohran. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you? I'm Ashley.
Ashley, I'm Yara. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So, again, we are outside. Zohran won the primary. How do you feel? What do you want to say?
I feel ignited. I feel like there is hope in our people. I feel like we've been in this demise for a really long time as people within our generation. And I think he has the ability to really change up the scope. When our parents talk about like, oh, how they ended up buying a home when they were 20 years old or whatnot, now we have the capacity to do that because we have the ability to save money when it comes to equalized housing. Everything, when you live here, it is it's very hard to save any sort of money, anything to where you can feel like you can sustain this livability while being free. In addition to that, I think like there's a lot of issues that come to fruition when it comes to being BIPOC people. That is never being heard. That is always it's always incentivized by white people that put these premises and charges on your shoulders, and you have to shoulder it thinking that, oh yeah, I'm going to live just like them with their privilege. That never happens. We have to really pry ourselves. And I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about the rest of the BIPOC community. They are struggling just to even keep up with housing. If we're talking about the housing department right now, they're going to end up losing money because of the cuts that are going to happen. So anybody who's in assisted housing, whatever it may be, it is actually going to be an issue for them, because if you apply for any assistance, now it's going to be voided. It's not going to be assisted. They're going to rebrand it into something else if COMA had won, but this is actually where it becomes normalized, where we don't lose our funding. However, we can find ways to actually make sure that there are social workers for our people that really need the help that they need, rather than focusing on armed enforcers. And I'm not going to say what it is, but we also need to just figure out, I think there's a lot of money that's being spent on things that are very unnecessary to protect white spaces, versus I'm pretty sure that Mamdani will definitely help us in the long run to protect us as people in general. So I'm very enthusiastic about this as a Muslim queer woman that was once an immigrant and now a citizen, and just to make sure that he's here to stay. I'm really excited about this. This is a big movement. This is revolutionary. This is a testament to what's happening in this entire world, and New York has spoken. Thank you.
I love that. I guess I would ask a follow-up. How do you feel about his campaign, which did not center identity politics? Instead, it centered a class-based reading of what working people want in this city.
I think it was absolutely genius of him to do that. The whole problem with all of these elections is that it's all based on identity, not on how hard you work in this nation. And so what he realizes is that he is very much stationed on his upbringing and how hard it took him to become a person and just become a working person in general. A functioning person takes a lot to just be here. But taking it to the next level and continuing to do that is really huge. And so I love that, to say oh wait, I'm not here because I'm brown or I'm Muslim or whatever. No. He's all about class, and he understood it. I think he ran a very smart campaign. It wasn't tactical. It wasn't pinpointed. It was perfect for everybody.
And I think it's been interesting especially the last couple of weeks of his campaign, that we have seen, the donor class. We have seen a lot of racist smears against him that, as other people have noted, would not be acceptable if we were talking about, if this was framed as like anti-Semitism, the things that they're saying about Zohran would not be acceptable, but of course it is acceptable because Islamophobia is apparently more acceptable in this country. I think it's been interesting to see they're so scared that they've, pulled out all the stops.
Absolutely. I think the 1% is ready to just throw their wallets at whoever's willing to fulfill their pockets. And unfortunately, the people are revolting and they're recognizing when they are being dismissed and not heard. And, you can keep throwing hate so much at us as BIPOC people, and we keep bouncing back. We're still in this country for a reason. We know that we have the community that will help us resurface. And so, you know what? This came to show that no one's going to knock him down, and the people revolted and they were with him because they understood his struggle, and that was it.
I mean, I just think it's great to see, everyone that I will preface this. Obviously, we are at a GSA watch party for the election for mayor. Absolutely. So obviously people are excited, but also that in itself is a kind of very unique thing that we are at one of several DSA watch parties across the city tonight where people showed up. There are so many people here that they were at capacity. When I got here, when I looked at the listing online, it said that attendance was full. They weren't allowing any more people in. So many people have showed up because they are so excited. And I mean, besides Bernie, who else is bringing people out like this? I mean, there has to be a big reason why so many people have showed up. So, is there anything else that you would want to add about just commenting on how excited people are, how excited, working people are, how excited young people are to be seeing him win the primary for New York City, the greatest city in the world?
I think it's very burning that a lot of New Yorkers came out, multicultural specs. If I look around here, there's so many different colors, so many different religious people. It is very empowering to see this. You would never see this at a Cuomo party. You would never see this at whatever party. This tells you that he is resigning with he's residing with a lot of people. A lot of people came for him. If you look at a party and it's this multicultural, you did something right as a Muslim man, okay? Muslim brown man. This is a win for you. And I'm very proud of him for doing all of this. And it makes me proud to be a Muslim brown, Yemeni, Arab American, queer woman.
That's wonderful. I guess I would ask, we're talking about everything that he's accomplished, and I would wonder your thoughts on Brad Lander, and on Brad Lander, his cross endorsement, and the kind of efforts to smear Zohran as anti-Semitic, and which Brad Lander, I'm thinking of him because he kind of said, well, I don't think that that's true of him, and again, they have cross endorsed each other. I would just wonder what your thoughts are.
Listen, on that. It's when people come together and they realize that whatever you cross smeared is bullshit, and they realize that when you have two people together, you can actually beat the enemy and bully. I knew about Brad when he was really going at it with ICE and making sure that people, and I think that's where he got his most prospective voters. However, I do know that I started watching more and more, and I was okay, well, maybe I may rank him second in comparison to the rest, but he was more actionable than Zohran. And at the end of the day, I'm very proud that they did this cross endorsement because that was the smartest thing to do. That was it.
Do you have any other thoughts that you want to add for viewers of Status Coup, people who might not be in New York City, who are watching, across the country, to see what happens here tonight?
What happens here tonight? I think that people who are very optimistic for making change in the world, at least in the U.S., if you feel very hopeless or whatnot, you can change it through local politics, and eventually it will trickle on up. And the hope is that we always entrust in our local politics to do things that we can do that our national cannot do and our state cannot do, but you can do it in your own community.
Thank you so much. Really appreciated talking with you. This was excellent. Enjoy the rest of your celebration. Have a good one, guys.
Okay, sorry.
All right.
I hope I didn't fumble.
No, you were excellent. You were excellent. I mean, this is why we do this, to talk to regular people who have an opinion. And if you guys didn't hear, the woman we just spoke to said she hopes she didn't fumble. No, nobody fumbles talking to Status Coup. Again, this is why we do this, so that we can talk to regular people. I don't want to talk to, happy to talk to politicians, but this is what we really do, and this is what I am most passionate about. I want to know what other people think. I want to know what other working people think. And tonight is a night for the working people of New York City. Tonight is not a night for politicians. It is a night for us and to celebrate people's on the ground the union makes us strong is what people are singing inside the bar in Manhattan right now. The labor movement has been a big part of this. The labor movement and the DSA show up for each other, so it makes sense. I don't know. I'm going to check the time. It is 11:15. I am going to, again, there's a heat wave in New York City. It's very hot. I'm going to take a drink of water really quick, and then I will be right back. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to grab it. Thanks.
Hey, it was really nice to meet you. Thank you so much.
So nice
you
to
really
meet
were
you.
frying me. You were gearing me up for some good stuff. You had me on the good day today.
I am so glad. You were excellent. Everything.
Okay, I hope it really worked out in your favor and everything. Do a little clip. Send it to me. Yeah.
Definitely, it live streamed, and you can watch the live stream on.
I saw there were 1.1K people. My dad's like, what the fuck? I'm just joking. He has no idea. My dad has no fucking clue. He's an Arab. He's an Arab man that subscribes to Al Jazeera. Like the new mayor.
Well, you can show it.
He's gonna be very fucking happy about this.
What you had to say.
He can shut the fuck up. Should we get a drink in there, or should we?
No, not yet.
He's like, I need one of these. Do I get a shirt? Is there a shirt that I can get?
I think you have to volunteer.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I was thirsty, and I was chatting with the last person that we interviewed. Extremely nice. Had a lot of great things to say. So while we are looking for the next person to talk to, getting some updates here that, again, I've been talking to people here. So updates for while that's been happening. Political pollster Adam Carlson tweeted, "Stick a fork in it, Zohran Mamdani will win the first round of the Democratic primary for New York City mayor. Zero path forward for Cuomo to make up that ground in RCV. A Muslim immigrant Democratic socialist is the front runner to become the mayor of the largest city in the U.S." Ross Barkin tweeted, "This is a realignment election in New York City. More than 1 million Democrats voted, and a 33-year-old socialist holds a very large lead over a Democrat who was governor for nearly 11 years and had almost the entire political establishment behind him." I mean, Cuomo had all of the support of the Democratic establishment, of the super PACs, of the billionaires, of the donor class, the consultancy class, all of those people. And still, Zohran won the primary in New York City. The New York City, one of the greatest cities on this planet. I won't say the greatest. To me, it is. Maybe not to everybody else. To me, it is. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I just think that this was, it really is a referendum on the Democrats' policies. And it really does show you that if you offer people something material, they will show up for you. There is no part of me that can believe anything else. I think that working people have been on the short end of the stick for a long time. We have seen the hollowing out of the working class, of the middle class, which does not exist anymore, for the last 40 plus years. People are tired of it, and they have been asking Democrats to help them, to do anything. They have not. Instead, they're focused on messaging and, telling Democrats, or telling voters in general, not just Democrats, telling voters that they are wrong. Don't believe your lying bank account when it shows nothing. That has not worked out for them. And again, Zohran's win tonight shows you how people feel about that. Nobody believes that. People are just asking to have some very basic things. They want rent control for rent-stabilized apartments in a city that's very expensive. I think that that's fair. I don't know who can afford the exorbitant rent prices in this city. People want cheaper groceries. They want, to be able to take public transportation around the city, which you rely on if you live in this city. Again, these are all very basic needs. And childcare itself can cost, as much as rent itself can cost for some people. So there are just so many, basic things that people have been asking for. And if the Democrats had offered some of these things, they might have had this kind of turnout for Kamala in the last election. I am getting some things here. So some updates from Jordan right now. Earlier on CNBC, CEO of Business Elite said they felt terror of Mamdani. The business community is having a panic attack over the New York City mayoral race. They're not terribly happy with the way it's going. Terror is the feeling, one CEO told CNBC. Brad Lander, in his speech tonight, said, "Good fucking riddance, Andrew Cuomo." And Jordan says that is a direct quote. I don't know. Again, I will just say on Brad Lander, who we spoke to last week, I think that he really showed, again, that he is a dedicated public servant, the way that he came out to support Zohran, especially when it became abundantly clear that the race was between Zohran and Cuomo. He showed up for him, and he showed what a politics of respect can look like, and that people want that. People showed up for that. They did not show up for the attack ads. They did not show up for smears. They did not show up for, I saw a text message, I think, that was going around yesterday that was legitimate from, I'm sorry, I don't remember which group, but it was a legitimate attack ad that showed a photoshopped photo of Zohran looking like he had gained weight, and it said something just like "Fat Zohran." What is that? What is that? People don't want that. People don't want that. They're over it. And people have so many real material struggles. They don't want to be distracted by the nonsense. They just want things that will affect their lives, like the policies that Zohran has put forward. So we have some people waiting who want to talk. So I will get off my soapbox and talk to some people. Hi. Good. How are you? I'm Ashley.
I'm Hannah. Hannah, yes. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Hannah. So why did you show up tonight? Why have you showed up for Zohran? Tell me anything that you want about the New York City mayoral election tonight.
Yes, actually, so I was doing a double canvass, one for Chris Marte in District 1, who also won, and Zohran, because I believe that Zohran will fight for working New Yorkers more than any of these other candidates. I've also known Zohran for years, and the things that I've personally seen is that he really tries to hold himself to account in what he says he's going to do. And so I think having that kind of integrity is important for people who are going to have a say in the way that our city is run. So yeah, that's why I'm out here, and I'm really happy that he won. And this is also, I think, important for people to see that it's possible for things to get done when people come together and work together to fight for what they want to see. And this is also a time to not disengage and continue engaging past the electoral politics. and get involved with the community. So yeah, that's it. Yes.
I mean, you said so many good things that I would want to follow up on. I guess the first thing, for people who are not leftists, you are clearly politically engaged, you're involved, you're volunteering, Zohran. For people who are skeptical, let's say, of the DSA, of leftists, of left policy, of, offering things like free and fair buses, people who would say something like, well, that sounds great, but how are we going to afford it? And people who generally are just skeptical that leftists can get anything done. What would you say to those people?
So for people who are afraid of how can we afford these kind of things, Zohran in his policy has already mentioned that he's going to be taxing the wealthiest people in New York City to pay their fair share, as it should be. As far as getting things done, this is why I say it's important to continue engaging because we win fights when people are engaged. And I'm hoping that people who aren't leftists or, cannot sympathize with leftist policy or are afraid of it, can just see that the types of policies that he's trying to put forward will benefit working class people, which is the majority, and we should be making sure that the majority of people are okay and can live in the city safely and comfortably. So yeah,
and I mean no, that was an excellent answer. Everything that you said has been great so far, and I guess I just have so many questions. I would ask, I'm sorry, it's hot, and I'm just going to say, it's hot, I'm getting tired, we're all tired, but I would want to follow up on, I don't know, I guess the idea that the people who are proposing these things are kind of just like fringe leftists, and the supporters of Zohran are just kind of fringe leftists. I think that, the amount of people who, one, showed up tonight here in person, and two, the fact that he won the primary would say that the policies that, you were just talking about are actually quite popular with a lot of people. So it's not just like leftists who are interested in having, again, all of these things that people say, well, how are you going to pay for it?
Yeah.
So many people are actually interested and want that. I guess I would ask if you have any thoughts on that.
I agree with you. To say that it's fringe leftists to make sure working class people are okay in the cities that they live in, I don't think that's a fringe left thing. I think that's just kind of like, something that makes sense, and should be the policy for every city everywhere. Making sure working class people are okay. It doesn't matter what your ideology is, what religion you are, or where you come from. You should be able to live in the city that you're living in comfortably and safely. And so yeah, saying that it's fringe policies to make sure that people can afford their rent, making sure that they can get to work, making sure that they have childcare if they need help. I don't think that's fringe. Also, there's a lot of social democratic countries, I guess I should say, that do have a lot of these policies in place, and they're ranked some of the best countries to live in the world. And there's money to do it, so why not build out that infrastructure for everybody? And yeah, I think that's a good thing. So yeah,
for sure. I guess I would ask, as a working person, as a resident of New York City, how does this win affect you? How would you hope for it to change your life? Is there something in particular, or some policy in particular, that you are most invested in, most excited to hopefully see come to fruition?
Yes. For me, I would say, specifically in regards to the questions that you've been asking about people who are afraid of leftist fringe policies, I would say that I'm excited for people to see that it actually works and that it's not something to be afraid of. I would say, for me, the most exciting thing, I would say I'm very happy about the free childcare. I know there's a lot of people who have been struggling, families who have been struggling, and it's, we have a homelessness crisis. There's a lot of children who are homeless in the city, and parents who are not able to find jobs. And I think the childcare for me is a really important one. So that's my most, the things I'm looking forward to a lot. So
yeah, I mean, that makes sense. In some instances, childcare can cost thousands of dollars a month. I mean, that is a lot of money, and I don't see how anyone could afford to both pay rent and pay so much money for childcare that you do need in order to work. So it's like you're stuck in a cycle where you need all of those things. You need your job so that you can pay for the childcare, but you need the childcare so that you can get to your job, and you obviously need to pay rent.
These things, yeah. It's very hard to live in this city, especially if you have a family or children and you're a working class person. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, is there anything else that you would add for viewers of Status Coup? Anything else about the excitement of tonight? What this says about, the state of our politics, especially as far as Democrats go? What does this mean for Democrats now?
I mean, I'm not exactly sure what it means for Democrats, but I'm hoping that people can see these policies that will benefit people. Like this is what the majority of people actually are looking for, and you can see this across the country in general. Even with these like rallies that Bernie Sanders and AOC have been holding with this fight oligarchy, even like red states are showing up to fight against the super rich elite, and everyone's struggling. So I'm hoping that whatever comes out of this is just that people see that these policies can work for everybody. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was great. It was so nice speaking with you. Nice meeting you. Of course. All right. So we are still out talking to people. We are waiting to see who wants to come over and talk to us next. It is getting late, but we're going to keep going. People are still celebrating. People are still partying. So we will keep hanging out as long as people are out here. I think the bar is only open until like 1, though. So maybe not past 1 because everyone will be going home. But while people are still celebrating, we'll be out here. In the meantime, let's see if we have any other updates. So Jordan says, a good tweet from Jacobin's Daniel Denver. Zohran's victory is an earthquake. The left everywhere must dedicate itself to an insurgency against Democratic incumbents. The Dem establishment has lost credibility with its base in the face of fascist threat. The base is looking leftward for new leadership. We are the opposition party. The DSA is the opposition party. From the New York Times, Cuomo said Zohran won before the ranked choice voting totals are tabulated is stunning. That Cuomo said Zohran won before the ranked choice voting totals are tabulated is stunning. Trip Yang, a Democratic strategist, called it potentially the biggest upset in modern history if the numbers hold. I mean, that's crazy. That's just crazy, especially for anyone who has been following, his campaign since he announced. It's just kind of crazy to be here tonight. And again, for all the reasons that everyone has outlined, this is due to the work of people on the ground, due to the grassroots movement. And I know that it is so hard to feel optimistic about anything, especially now. I don't know. I usually feel like I want to do the right thing because it is the right thing to do with no expectation of winning. You do it because it's right, not because you're expecting to win. And it's really nice to see a lot of people's hard work result in a win and not in a loss. And, this is not a night for people to pick themselves back up again and say, okay, where is the next fight? Where is the next thing to pick myself up to? And instead, it's a night for celebrating. And, as leftists, we don't often get that. So I'm reveling in everybody's celebrating tonight. Cool. And we have more people who want to talk. Hi. You guys can all come in. We can do a group interview. That is perfectly great. It is so nice to meet you guys. What's your name?
I'm Brooke.
Brooke.
I'm Isabel.
Kareem.
Nice to meet you guys. I'm Ashley. I don't know. You guys were inside celebrating Zohran's primary win in the primary election. How do you guys feel? What do you want to say about it? Anything at all?
I feel fantastic, honestly. I don't know. I feel like when you are part of a movement like this, you can't help but feel inspired, but also everybody's done the work kind of in their own ways, which is kind of the best feeling. Everybody here tonight has come here and been through canvassing, through phone calls, but also just through word of mouth, social media, even like through like separate like art endeavors, like I've at least tried to like make sure that my people know what's up. And like, I don't know, it's been like one of the most unifying experiences as like somebody who like moved here like 5 years ago. I thought it was my duty to like make sure that like we're moving in the right direction for everybody, and like making sure that like this city is something that's equitable but also obtainable for everybody, not just for people that want to come study here. Like this is a sanctuary for a lot of people, and this is a community that a lot of people cherish, including myself. Like this city has provided me so much and provided me so many people and spaces that have really given me like the chance to grow and like foster like all of my like learning and just creative endeavors. And I feel like it's only fair to like give back to that in the most equitable and accessible way for everybody, and this is like definitely one of them.
That's great. I think that is a wonderful answer. And I was just saying, to people who are watching that, this is a win for everybody who was volunteering, for people who were volunteering, for people who showed up to, as you said, to out of a sense of duty for a city that they love. And I think that that's a really beautiful thing. And again, this is totally unforeseen victory. At least as far as what we can usually expect as leftists. Like, we don't often win things. We don't often have things to celebrate. It was wonderful even to see his campaign get as far as it did, and to see him actually win tonight. I don't know. I just think we don't often get moments like this, and I think it's great. And I think it's just wonderful that it's come from people like you who felt a duty to do this for a place that they love, so that it can be equitable, so that everybody can afford to live here, not just, people who have trust funds and billionaires and, all of that, us working people. So I guess what would you add about tonight? What are you excited about? What are you feeling?
I think it's just great to have, should I hold this or do you want to? Okay, great. Okay, great. I think it's just really awesome to have a candidate who I personally feel really excited about, because I've been feeling so hopeless when I look at the politics of the U.S. and just not feeling like represented or heard by our politicians. And honestly, I haven't been involved in a campaign since 2020 because I just haven't felt heard or excited about any candidates. And then Kareem here got me really excited about Zohran, and I started looking into his policies, and I was like, this is a New York that I really want to live in and I want to fight for. So it's just great to see a young, fresh voice who, isn't bought out by super PACs or corporations. He didn't take any money from those corporations that were funding Cuomo's campaign and also funded Trump's campaign, and just have someone who I really feel like is going to represent the people and has the people's best interests in mind. So yeah, that's why I'm here tonight, and that's why I volunteered on this campaign, and it just feels so good to have a victory. But I do have to say I am concerned about what the Democratic establishment is going to do leading up to November, and I think that hopefully tonight gets even more people excited about Zohran and looking into his policies, so that in November we get the win.
Yeah, again, I think that's all extremely well put. And, I think a lot of us probably share your concerns about what the Democrats are going to do next, because as you said, this really tells them pretty clearly what voters want. And this is how you get people to show up. This is how you get people to vote, by offering something material. And you said that you're excited and that you have not felt optimistic in a long time. I think a lot of us feel that. I certainly have not felt optimistic about another candidate, and similarly have not felt heard, certainly by the Democratic establishment. I certainly don't see any of my concerns echoed. I see a lot of talk about messaging. I see, a lot of that kind of thing, and less talk about the things that people clearly have shown up tonight to say they care about. And it's, people are excited about his policies. I mean, that in itself is a referendum on the Democrats, who don't actually offer you policies. They offer a lot of platitudes about things, but don't actually tell you, here's what I'm going to do for you. Most people that I've spoken to have cited his policies. So I think that that's all it says so much. And I would ask, what are you feeling tonight? Why are you excited? Why are you here?
It's just pure euphoria. It's a historical night. Yeah, I mean, they put it very eloquently, but, you know, hope has kind of been basically gone these past couple months, right? With, you know, the Trump administration, what's going on in Gaza and how our leaders are reacting to it. And it's been so dire. And I think this was sort of the thing keeping me going in the political world. And I think it's because of this idea that we can have leaders we're excited about. We can have populists that are speaking to the people and things that everyday people will benefit from. And we don't need to keep doing the same things we've always been doing. We don't need to keep being funded by the same people. And we can actually direct money towards things that help all people. And that's not this crazy idea, and it's something people subscribe to. And I think this election was obviously very important for New York, but I really feel this is a referendum on the Democratic Party in general, right? Because this is the biggest sign to the establishment that you can keep doing what you're doing and you're going to keep losing, right? This is how we win elections. We run people who have popular policy and people get excited behind them and they have ground momentum, and that's how you win elections. So now you know how to win elections, and so I think it'll really show, if we keep kind of sticking to, the politics of the past in the Democratic Party, then it's almost on purpose, right? So I think it's a huge win, and it shows that, the soul, I don't know, maybe this is too dramatic, but like the soul of America is still alive. You know what I mean? Like the rise of fascism is not because it's purely because of failures of democratic leaders and not because of a general sentiment of Americans. So it's a really exciting night, and I really hope that some lessons get pulled from tonight, and yeah, very excited.
Again, I think that's so well put, and I would agree. We could save Democrats so many millions of dollars on all the studies that they're running on how to talk to people, how can we message better.
Yeah, we know the answer.
Yeah.
We know the answer, right? We figured it out tonight. So, yeah, exactly.
Also, running the same people who, have allegations of sexual harassment is not what Americans want. It's not what New Yorkers want, and I think we showed that tonight. Like, get that off the ticket, right? Like, we want fresh, young voices and people who we feel like are role models. And especially, I feel like in Gen Z, like, we look up to Zohran in a lot of ways. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, and I guess I would add, on role models, we also saw, Brad Lander and Zohran kind of modeled what a very respectful, dignified campaign looks like, and one that prioritizes working people and their interests over the egos of politicians. I mean, Brad Lander, I think that he did a great thing by cross-endorsing Zohran, and you can kind of see as it becomes more and more clear that the race has become between Cuomo and Zohran, that he kind of uses his platform, like obviously he tells people to rank him number one, as he should, but rank Zohran number two. And I think that you can tell in the way that they have interacted and the way that he has presented his case and Zohran's case publicly, it tells you that he understood where the cards were falling, and instead of, doubling down on promoting himself and, maybe casting aside Zohran like other candidates did, he doubled down on that message, and he really went to bat for him. And I think that shows that he really is a public servant. And he was, out there for the working people of New York City. I guess I would ask if you guys have any thoughts on that, on just the politics of, I guess, like respectability that they kind of showed, and how different that is from what we're used to seeing and what we saw from every other candidate that ran for mayor.
Oh my gosh. Such a loaded. I think that honestly, the best way to sum it up is that a lot of people are going to do anything for power. But something that Brad Lander and Zohran showed is that our community is our power. Our community is the strongest thing that we have. And I think that a common sentiment among everybody in this room is that, like, knowing your neighbor and, like, knowing who your community is and getting involved in that community in any way you can, it's your duty. And it's really the way that we show up for our people and the way that we listen to the people that have been here even before us. Like, our community genuinely is, like, the key into a new way, into, like, politics, into government, into new societies. Because, I mean, like, when you get involved and when you start to really educate yourself and understand, like, who the people are around you, what the people are in your community like, that is just, like, invaluable. And really, like, I think even the numbers tonight on the TV will show that. Like, when you see Zohran's numbers and then you also see Brad Lander's number, you're like, oh my gosh, like, maybe in ranked choice voting, like, Lander's not going to get that number one, but you know what? He leveraged that. So all those votes, they're going to go to Zohran. And that's just, like, in this race in general, like, that is so huge. And that's, like, such an unprecedented move, where, like, we've seen other candidates like Jessica Ramos, like, endorse Cuomo. Right. I know, but, like, still, like, that's such a great example of, like, two ways this race could have gone. And by them teaming up, it kind of just made it, like, this superpower team where both of them were fighting on their own platforms. We saw Lander, like, be arrested by ICE. We saw him get assaulted, and we saw that that's not normal. But we also saw all of the candidates that supported him show up that day, like, instantly. And so I think that if there's any, like, message that comes for us is know your neighbor. Know your neighbor, know your people, and support them and ask them how they're doing and let them know what's going on, because really all we have is each other. And that's what this movement is about. It's about lifting each other up and making sure we all have a voice, not just one person.
I think that's all really well put, and I guess I would also comment on, you're talking a lot about community and the importance of knowing your neighbor and community, and I feel like a frequent complaint that we hear from, like, older generations is people have no community anymore. They don't hang out. They're inside. They're on their phones. They're on their computer. They're not talking to people. This would say otherwise. I think this would say otherwise, and I think that, I'm anticipating the reaction from someone who might have said people don't have community anymore as being, well, not like that. But I mean, I don't know. This is what community can do. This is the power of knowing people and organizing, because organizing is so much easier when you have a community of people. And, I actually had not gotten to Jessica Ramos at all tonight. I will say I was a fan of hers. I've spoken with her before, and she was very nice. And I just thought, like, she is a politician who, like, also has some policies that I support. Yeah. I was very surprised to see her kind of, like, nosedive. And it speaks to your point that that's not the way to do it. That's not the way to do it. And someone like Cuomo is clearly not going to respect that. And he didn't. And he said, rank me. That's it. Don't rank anybody else. I mean, it's very unfortunate, and it's interesting to see Brad Lander took a totally different path. We spoke to him after his ICE arrest last week. I mean, he took the path of respectability, and it will work out for him too. And I think that's the other part. It's that people discount how much showing up for other people and showing how much you genuinely care about the community that you are trying to get elected to represent in a real way will benefit you. He didn't win. He probably was not going to win, but it only helps him in this instant. And I think it has made a lot of other people who maybe were skeptical of him support him now. So it only works out. I guess I would ask, do you have any other thoughts that you want to add? Anything else about the election, about being a working person in New York City tonight?
Oh, man. I mean, I feel like there's a lot more to say, but it's been great getting to share, and really appreciate you giving us the platform. So thank you.
Absolutely. Happy to. This is what we do here. We just talk to people. I guess I would ask, do you have any final thoughts? What would you like to wrap up this interview with and wrap up this part of your night with?
Yeah, and I think I kind of want to add in that, like, just the immense amount of respect I have for Brad Lander. I think it was very obvious, especially near the end of the campaign, that what he really wanted was a powerful progressive leader in office. It didn't have to be him. And he was really, I think he had an ad that didn't even mention his name. It was just "Don't Ring Cuomo." And I think, like, we all see that and we all remember that. And I think that is sort of the dividing line of the politics of the new and the old, right? The new, we have the coalition building of Brad and Zohran and this sort of like mutual benefit. And both of them want good leaders, progressive leaders. And then on the other side, you have the Cuomo Ramos, where Cuomo literally said, oh, yeah, she endorsed me, but whatever, I don't endorse her, and then only voted for himself. And I think it's so picturesque. You can't put it better than that because he lost, right? So that's out with the old and in with the new. And I think I have a hunch we're going to see some attacks on ranked choice voting after this from the establishment. But it's obviously the most democratic way, right? If a candidate is most liked, then they should win. That's how it should work. And it makes me reflect on 2016, how that primary would have been with Bernie if there was ranked choice voting. We'll never know. But yeah, I think so. I just have so much respect for that, and it really gives me hope that we can have a politics of the future where it's community building, it's a coalition building, and it wins. And I think that's what I'm most excited about.
That's awesome. I think that is a really great closing thought. I would just add, Brad Lander did give a speech, and I'm pretty sure the direct quote was, "Good fucking riddance to Andrew Cuomo." So that's how he's feeling tonight. And like you said, you know, he's looking to build a progressive movement in the city. He and everybody else here knows how bad Andrew Cuomo would have been for New York City. We'll see what he tries to do with an independent run. Who knows? I mean, it just makes a case for, you know, staying on the ground, continuing to, as you said, kind of like do your duty for New York City. Yeah, I don't know. It was great talking to you guys, and thank you so much. All right, enjoy the rest of the party. I won't keep you. Have a good night. You too. All right. Okay. All right, guys. We're going to wrap up. It's almost midnight. Let me just... Oh, we have one more person who wants to talk. I will not wrap up just yet. I'm so happy to talk. Sorry, there's so much cheering going on. Very happy to talk. I'm Ashley.
Stand up here where you're taller.
Okay.
No.
That is a very hard thing to achieve, but I appreciate it.
I was watching you from home and I decided to walk down.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's awesome. I'm Ashley.
I'm Carol.
Carol, nice to meet you. That's really sweet, Carol.
I was channel surfing for live coverage on YouTube, and I stayed with you. I quit surfing after that.
That's awesome. I appreciate that so much. I am so glad to hear that. I am so glad to hear people are watching.
So excited about Zohran Mamdani and the turnout. And the early coverage I heard was men really turned out, which they said was unusual. And I'm glad for any group that turns out more than, you know, they used to. I canvassed a little bit, but I just wanted to be the face. I'm in my 70s, and I just want you to know that there are people my age and older. When I canvassed, I met an 82-year-old man. And he said, oh, I'm going out, and he had a walker, and he's behind Zohran, but so I guess a lot of people just don't come to places like this, I don't know, but they're out there, and I was compelled to share that. And there are people that have a conscience and are well-informed, as much as it doesn't seem that way some of the time. But anyway, I'm very excited about the outcome.
That's awesome. It is, first of all, you look amazing. I would not have guessed that you're in your 70s.
It must be the humidity tonight.
It's doing wonders for us. I guess I would also say, you know, it is so great to hear from someone who is not younger, who's been canvassing, who is, you know, not in their 20s, and has been out canvassing because they would like us.
I offered to canvass again today, but I said I'm not doing, you know, the real field was 102 today. I said I'm not doing any 4 or 5 floor walk-ups today.
I I totally understand that. And I guess, the political establishment line has kind of been that it's only young people who are coming out to vote. It's only, fringe leftists who have really upheld this campaign. And clearly that is not true. You are just as enthusiastic about the...
For you and whoever is tuning in to know that. I've been passionate about politics. I was talking to your producer over there. I forgot what number amendment that allowed 18-year-olds to vote. It was passed in 1971. The next presidential election was 1972, in which I was 18, and I couldn't wait to vote. So I've been passionate about, social change, positive social change. And it was the height of the Vietnam War. Very unpopular war. There was a lot going on. And so I've never lost that. And so when Zohran got my attention, I had to, step up. And
I appreciate that so much. And as someone who has been politically engaged and active for as long as you have, did you ever think that there could be a night like tonight in New York City where we are electing Zohran Mamdani for mayor of New York City? And when was the last time that you felt this kind of excitement for, a mayor?
It kind of goes like this, historically. I feel my default setting is optimism. However, I have had to scrape myself, after elections here and there. But I ain't no quitter.
I love that. And you said so many good things that I also would want to follow up on, too, because you did also mention that turnout for young men has been higher than usual, unusually high, I believe, you said. And, I think that kind of calls back to something I've discussed a couple other times tonight, that, the Democrats, they spent like $20 million recently over the last, maybe, let's say a couple of months, trying to figure out how to talk to young men. I mean,
they're going to they're going to buy that information.
Yeah, to me, it kind of sounded like, how can we convince you to vote for us?
Well, that's what it was. And if you saw the negative things Cuomo was putting out, it was quite disgraceful. Look at his record. It's dismal.
And they thought that is the person who would turn out, young male voters, apparently.
I like to think maybe this is a sea change. Cuomo represented the past and not a glorious past. He's been riding on his father, Mario Cuomo's record or name for years. He's not his father. His father was a more respectable person, in my opinion. And we don't need a backroom deal guy. Zohran represents now new imagination, the way forward. And Cuomo represents the past, backroom deals and, the money people, the little bubble that, exists there. And so that's what resonated with New Yorkers. And he reached out to every borough. And he comes across, to me, as very genuine.
I think that those are all wonderful thoughts to end the night on. And this idea of leaving behind a politics of the past that does not work for working people and ushering in an imaginative new future. And we'll see what happens. But it's nice to have some kind of optimism for once. It's nice to be able to allow yourself to be excited, to say, we won something, and, and just celebrate.
I was not this excited since Bernie was running. And that was so disappointing, the way the mainstream media either disrespected him, ignored him completely, and his message was strong. And yet those forces conspired to defeat him. And I don't think that's going to happen now.
Well, let's hope that the momentum is too strong, the excitement is too strong, and we're able to get a win and have it be a real win that we can really keep for, the working people of the city who deserve it. Thank you so much. Is there any final thoughts that you would want to add for the viewers of Status Coup? You are our last interview of the night. Is there anything else that you would want to add to close up this night of excitement?
Well, it's a very promising new beginning, and let's just keep on keeping on and see it to the finish, our desired outcome.
That's great. I love that so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming out here just to speak with us and to, not to speak with me, but to speak with viewers. This has been really lovely. Thank you so much again. All right, have a good rest of your night, and I hope that you enjoy the moment and celebrate. Enjoy some air conditioning.
I left my air conditioning.
We appreciate it. She said she left her air conditioning for this. We will soon be seeking out air conditioning, hopefully. We are going to close out for the night. I am going to celebrate myself a little bit. We are at a bar. I'm going to get a drink. I think John's going to get a drink. We are going to soak in the optimism of the moment. Who knows what's going to happen, but I do genuinely think it's nice to be able to win something every once in a while. I don't usually feel optimistic, but this is nice, and I am not so pessimistic that I can't enjoy this for what it is. So before I do anything else, I'm going to read super chats and do all that, but I would like to say, if you are a new subscriber, please like, follow, and subscribe to Status Coup News. If you're a new viewer, rather, please like, follow, and subscribe to Status Coup. You don't want to miss any of our coverage like this. If you are not yet a member, please become a member at statuscoup.com/join. I don't think anybody else is out here just talking to people on the sidewalk about why they voted for Zohran, why they canvassed for Zohran, why they did all of this other stuff, and why they're excited about this win and what it means for them. We can't do any of this coverage without you guys. We do need your support. Independent journalism is hard to maintain. It costs a lot of money and resources. We would like to be able to bring in more staff. And again, do more coverage like this. We want to plan some more on-the-ground trips that are currently in the planning stages of. We can't do that without bringing in more supporters. So please do support our work. Again, at statuscoup.com/join. As little as $5 a month is all it takes from you, but it means a lot to us, especially in this moment of a changing left politics. Who knows where we go from here? I would like to think that there are going to be more things for us to cover. So again, we need your support to do that, and you can support us at statuscoup.com/join. And before I go, I am going to read super chats, so just give me a couple of seconds to pull this up on my phone. Sorry guys, just another second while my email loads. Okay, and here's the email from Colin. Super chats. Adria French has been a member for 24 months. She says, "Go Zohran, time for socialist politics to take center stage." Thank you so much, Adria. Carrie C., thank you so much for the $20. Thanks for being here and interviewing these great people. Happy to be here, genuinely just as excited as everybody else out here. So it is truly my pleasure to be out here. Jeremy Elwood, thank you for the $2. He said, "Son of a bitch, I take the dog out for 10 fucking minutes." I guess, unfortunately, he must have missed the moment of Cuomo conceding the race. I'm very sorry that happened, but I'm glad that you came back to us and you were watching our coverage. And instead of that, you got to hear from a bunch of working people who are excited, who are out here, who have been doing the work. So I think that hopefully that is a good payoff for that. Tony D's music channel says, "Hooray Zohran, hooray Status Coup, great interviews." Thank you so much, Tony. Jeremy Elwood says, "Now let's do this shit in Flint." Yes, yes. Filthy Kami says, "Mamdani cooked."